Hey guys, I'm EthAnswers from Stockton Supply, and today I'm really excited to show you something I've been working on for a long time here, a new product called the BladeLock Guide Insert. So what it is, if you come on close here, right here in the center of my saw, it is an insert for your bandsaw that has integrated guides that are made of phenolic combined with graphite. So it does a couple of things that are really interesting. If you look at it here, it has some holes in the top. That's going to improve dust collection. It also naturally acts like a zero clearance insert, but it offers unparalleled support, blade support, because those guides are directly below the workpiece that you're cutting, and because of the guide material, it's going to keep your blade clean. So this is totally adjustable back and forth. So if I back this off, I'll take this out and show you what this looks like here. Let me just pop her out here. Okay, so that's the back side. So it's totally adjustable. You got holes in the top. That's going to increase. There's not going to be buildup of sawdust on your table, and your dust collector will have a little bit of access to the sawdust. And right here on the back, this will actually lock right to your table when you tighten that here. And it has these leveling screws. So when I go to attach this, it goes right like that. I will level that to my table, and then once I got it level, I will go in the back here, and I will tighten this set screw in the back, and that's going to lock it right to my table and not going to move. So once that's set up, you don't ever have to really change it, other than move these guides back and forth. So I have a 3/8 blade in there right now. And now if you've watched any of my other videos on guides, you'll know that there's one major issue with these bearing guides. That's what comes on the vast majority of saws these days. That's the bearing guides. That doesn't really get talked about a lot. And essentially that's when you're cutting wet wood. When you cut wet wood, these bearings, they're almost like a rolling pin. They'll squish the sawdust, especially on the bottom, right up against the side of the blade, and you get a lot of buildup on the side of the blade. So with this BladeLock insert, when I have those phenolic blocks right up against the side of my blade, they're going to act a lot like a scraper. So I'm going to make a quick cut and show you what it looks like after the cut here. So once this blade stops, if we take a really close look at this blade, you're going to notice there's no buildup on the outside of that blade. This is a very wet piece of birch I just cut, and that blade's going to be nice and clean because the pressure of that guide, it's not letting any of that sawdust kind of build up on the side because it's scraping any of it off there. Now the other thing, in addition to keeping the blade clean, of course those guides are directly below the workpiece, and that comes really into effect when I'm using a smaller blade, which I'll show you right now. Okay, so I just quickly vacuumed up the sawdust here, but I want to show you this here. If you look at this guide right here, you can see some of that wet sawdust that's built up on the top. That wet sawdust, that's what would have ended up right on the side of my blade. So this guide has kept that all off the side of the blade and kept it really clean. So let me put a small blade in here now. Okay, so I got a 3/16 blade on there now. So what we're going to do here, you can see how this is going to end up in my guides a little bit different. So those teeth, when I move those guides closer, are actually going to be right into the guides, but that's okay. So we're going to move this block right up against the blade on both sides, just like that. And what we're going to do, make sure you get a little closer. As soon as I have that in there, I'm going to give the top wheel a spin, and that's going to mill a groove right into my lock block. So what this has done now, that blade right on the bottom here is fully supported on completely its side. So what I'm going to do is if I'm cutting anything and I'm trying to follow a line, sometimes on the bottom of the cut, because the guides on the bandsaw, on this particular saw, it's over 4 inches below the table that the guides are on the bandsaw. So you got 4 inches that blade could move back and forth. So the bottom of your cut may not actually be on the line. With this right here, the guides are literally directly below what you're cutting. So that's going to keep that very, very perpendicular up and down. So yeah, let's make a cut here. I'll show you what that looks like. So I didn't do a very good job of following my line there, but what this has given me is a perfectly square edge here because that blade hasn't moved on the bottom compared to the top. So if you're doing any cutting where you're following a line, if you're making duck decoys or things like that, this is a really, really cool handy device because that blade is totally captured on each side, the entire surface of the blade. So the BladeLock Insert is a really, really cool product. It does a number of things really, really well. It's the only thing on the market that will guide the blade directly below the piece you're working on. It will keep the blade clean regardless of what kind of bearing guides or what kind of guide system your bandsaw has. It also acts as a zero clearance insert, so things aren't going to fall onto your table, and it improves overall dust collection of your saw. So we make these to fit any saw that has a round hole in it. So if you got a Raycon, a Delta or a Delta clone, or the smaller benchtop versions, we will have a model to fit yours. And we are working towards making models to fit the full range of saws out there. So yeah, you can find them on our website. If anybody else has any questions, you can email me at info@stockhamsupply.com or just comment on the video. Thanks for watching.